Candelle faces the same fate as all One Piece mothers when her life is suddenly taken. Leuven proves he is indeed goated by standing up to the world government over offering up his people as slaves. And by the end, we see that Shuri is not the only person who got Domi reversied. As you can see, I am also back in my usual spot and ready to review One Piece chapter 1185 titled Y'all Better Buzz Off. So we pick up pretty much where the last chapter left off, with Leuven bringing Brook into the fold. Here, we also see the setup to Brook's overall etiquette, or let's be honest, sometimes lack of it, demeanor, and even his swordsmanship and fighting style. Now this all comes about from Leuven asking Candelle to make Brook her page. This basically meant that Brook became an attendant of sorts to Candelle and studied everything he could from her. And she went for it right away too, because the man asking was the very man that she herself wanted. After seeing the end of the last chapter, and now this, it is no wonder that Brook was infatuated with Candelle. We do learn here, though, that Brook, well, let's just say that he was asking to see the panties of woman from even a young age. Something that, despite her best efforts, Candelle never successfully beat out of him. He is also failing in honorifics as well, at least at this point, omitting lady when speaking to Candelle, which she swiftly corrects him on, given he is now her page. But overall, I do really believe that she cares about Brook, or maybe she just really wants to get that close to Leuven. We also get a scene of him carrying a comically big sword compared to him, Trafalgar D. Water Law style over the shoulder, and walking through the palace for the first time. And you can really tell just how excited he is. We then transition over to seeing Brook in music school, which is such a wonderful turn of events, right? As this is something that we know he has always wanted. We get an interesting, or at least more of a look into how he is as a person, when we are shown that he refuses to wear the school uniform. Now, when questioned about this by Candelle, he tells her that if he were to allow the school to cramp his style, it will stifle or outright remove his ability to jam and make good tunes. And honestly, I see where he is coming from, right? Because having individuality is so very important when it comes to any sort of creative endeavor. And while his music was not exactly good when he was younger, it is the very thing that drew Leuven to him in the first place. He does let Candelle know, though, that he is excited about rocking a guard corps uniform one day, and we know that he goes on to do just that. It appears that he is not forced to wear the school uniform, as we see him sleeping with a guitar in the next panel, with Candelle there smiling. I think she's tucking him in too. We are treated to another conversation between the two on this panel as well. While Brook is training with Candelle, he asks her if she has a type of guy that she goes for. We know the answer to this is Leuven, but she does not relay this directly to Brook. Instead, she simply tells him that there is one man she has her eyes on, but that he is out of her league. In fact, the reason that she trains so hard in the sword is so that she can become worthy of standing by his side. Brook comments that, hey, maybe if you just dressed more ladylike, he might be interested in you. And Candelle's like, that is not important. The only thing that matters, the only thing that's important is that I am capable of standing near him. Comically, when Brook hears her say this, he mistakes it for being him. He's like, wait, Candelle, you're not talking about me, are you? And of course, Candelle shoots this down swiftly. For the rest of these panels, we see Brook following and learning from Candelle. And there is one more line that I would like to focus on here. She tells him that strength and etiquette go hand in hand. And I believe these words are something that shaped Brook and have lived on with him to the current era of One Piece. And here we end the earlier stages of Brook's life and move back to the latest timeline of the flashback, where we get a nice comparison of sorts. Now, before I move on with that, I gotta ask, if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy just listening to me yap, or even if you just like my beard, I would invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. A lot of people who watch are actually not subscribed, and I would like to change that. Not only would I greatly appreciate this, but it is important for small channels, which mine most certainly is. We already knew this is how they have been from the last chapter or two, but like Brook followed and was infatuated with Candelle, Shuri now follows and is infatuated with Brook. So we have a love line or progression of sorts, right? Candelle's chasing Leuven, Brook's chasing Candelle, Shuri is chasing Brook, right? So we have the scenario where each individual is chasing the person ahead of them and is also being pursued by the one behind them. A little funny if you ask me. So in this panel, we and Shuri are told about a scene that I honestly think could have gotten panel time of its own. It is about a situation where Esperia was given the Fishman Island treatment of a wayward world government ship drifting onto their island, with Shuri correctly questioning if the ship held a celestial dragon. Brook confirms this and tells us that the pressure was so overwhelming. Now, we are not given a time frame on how long they were there, but we can surmise it was not a short amount of time, because by the end of it, Candelle was bedridden for a few months, likely due to the stress. A few months, that is a long time, and it does make me wonder what exactly went down during this period of time that Esperia or Candelle directly had to deal with that led to such an outcome. Brook describes this as a dark time for Esperia, and while he says he should not laugh about it, it truly did feel like the sun had set on the kingdom. The darkest of times had not yet reached Esperia, though, which we will see later in the chapter. For now, the sun rose once more, and Brook regales us, along with Shuri, with what would be the final set of good moments for the kingdom. The two big events he opens up with are, first, Prince Leuven ascending to the throne and becoming King Leuven, and alongside this, him choosing to marry Shuri's mother Candelle, making her the queen. Again, marking the beginning of their time spent as king and queen of Esperia. Then, of course, sometime after this, they were blessed with Princess Shuri's birth. Between these events, the nation was bubbling with joy, with Brook stating that citizens left and right were expressing a strong desire to see Princess Shuri. Oh, look at how cute she is. I wonder if she's going to look like her mother when she grows up. Fawning, if you will. Brook then mentions that he's getting a little off topic. In the beginning of this, right, he was telling Shuri why he is so indebted to her parents. And so he ends off on the note that Leuven and Candelle truly are his ultimate benefactors, and that should such a situation arise, he would gladly relinquish his life for the two of them. With this, he breaks out into a song called Relinquished Rock, which carries us through the next section of this chapter. We are then treated to a very cute montage of Brook and Shuri spending time together. We see them training. We see her riding on his back as if she was still a little girl. And we even get a fun scene where she totally baits his ass, asking what he would do if she was in danger. Like what he said with Leuven and Candelle, he told her that he would gladly lay down his life in a heartbeat if she was in danger. She prods further, though, by asking if that is just because he is their daughter. And while Brook is surprised by this and does not respond immediately, he bows and states, No, princess, it is because of who you are." Shuri pouts at this, though, at him hesitating, and she's like, "You're supposed to answer this immediately, unwaveringly, and without hesitation." Of course, Brook knows exactly what to do. He pulls out a lollipop, which improves her mood instantly. We get a nice scene with her and what I think is her mother and her father. Or it's a scene directly between Shuri and her father. It's one of those two. All the while, Brook's singing his song in the background with the tagline, "Y'all better buzz off." Now, right now, it is shown in a positive light, but by the end of the chapter, this song will take on a much darker tone. We have a few more fun scenes, though. One with Brook frantically bringing a first aid kit to Shuri, who cut her finger. A wholesome shot of Brook and Shuri shielding a dog from the rain, which really reminds me of his childhood. We even get a panel of Shuri dressed in actual princess wear, like she has a dress on. She's ignoring another one of her suitors, of which I'm sure she gets many, to instead rant at Brook, who is busy asking another lady if he can see her panties. Very fun stuff overall. Shuri also gets her payback, though, because later we see her chasing Brook with a ghost puppet, to which he is running away with fear and terror in his eyes. Like Usopp, Brook is one who is scared of traditional things. Funny, given he himself is now a walking, living, breathing skeleton, but also really somber and sad, given what we know about him spending 50 years alone in the Florian Triangle. The last scene we get here that I would like to touch on is Shuri learning how to cook from her mother Candelle so that she can be capable and ready to prepare meals for Brook. He is later seen enjoying one of her meals while she is there taking a nap peacefully. And listen, we can be sure that whether or not her food is truly delicious, Brook will enjoy it all the same, no matter what. In his youth, after all, he found enjoyment from meals he cooked out of a garbage yard. It is at this point that we reach the end of the joy for Esperia Kingdom, as we come to the tragic part that is found in all of Oda's backstories. And it states to us that in Shuri's 15th year, music died in the kingdom of Esperia. You see, a thick mist fell over the island. completely shrouding it. In time, this mist turned to smog. This smog had two profound, lasting, and negative effects on the kingdom before it went away. First, it decayed all their prized instruments, first making it impossible to tune them, and in time, making it impossible to use them at all. For most of the citizens, anyway. The second was that it brought upon illness to the citizens that caused everything ranging from coughing to death. Not only did music no longer echo through the streets, but it was also replaced by that horrid coughing. The sole exception to this was Brook, the only musician still capable of bringing song. And if you think about it, this makes sense. After all, Brook grew up making music out of makeshift, decaying instruments. In some ways, he was trained for this, unlike anyone else in the kingdom. But even he was not trained for what came next. The smog ravaged the lungs of the people and claimed the lives of hundreds, including Queen Candelle. The one thing I wish from this was that we got more from her perspective, or even how someone as strong as her was one of those affected. Like, did she spend more time in the smog helping the citizens? Was she affected in some way we just didn't see coming? One thing about this is we are given no further information. Perhaps Oda wanted to hammer home just how sudden her death was for both us and for the kingdom. After her death, we see Shuri, Brook, and Leuven all crushed and in tears. The way this smog hit the kingdom does not feel natural to me. It was almost certainly manufactured. The primary suspect for this in my mind is the world government. Perhaps they saw danger in the music of Esperia Kingdom, or what it might one day bring about. And so, they sought a way to bring the kingdom down that they could easily cover up. The loss of Queen Candelle, amongst others, was not the only issue Esperia faced. Robbed of their ability to create instruments, also robbed them of their economy and income. We learn here that Esperia is a member nation of the world government. But now, left without their source of income, they are unable to pay this year's heavenly tribute. This will come to lead to the end of the kingdom, but we will come back to that one later. We now see Brook and Shuri training again, and what I think is being implied here is that Shuri is getting a grasp on observation hockey, and possibly even a tinge of future sight. This is because Brook tells her that the way she moves sometimes makes it seem like she can see the future. To this, Shuri exclaims that she is going to be just like her mother. So does that mean Candelle had hockey too? And if so, Brook, listen. You gotta lock the fuck in, bro. How come of all the things you picked up from Candelle, hockey was not one of them? What are we doing? Now, Brook says he thinks Shuri would be well suited for a position like what her mother held, but that her father would certainly not be pleased with the notion of her fighting at the front lines. While on the topic of her father, Shuri notes that he has seemed troubled lately. Brook tells her that while he has an idea why, there's nothing either of them can do about it, and that instead he will simply follow the king to the very end. It is here that we learn about Brook's desire to become a pirate when he is asked about it by Shuri. Brook, who still feels indebted to Leuven, tells her that he would happily put his own dreams on hold while he repays his debt. Shuri, of course, wants to come be a pirate because she wants to be with Brook, but he is like, absolutely not, Princess Shuri. She is defiant to this, though, and says, just you try and stop me. And here, we reach the ending portions of this chapter. Leuven tells Brook and his country that the world government is now their enemy, and that it can only mean war. Brook acknowledges this right away, but the people request an explanation from the king. Here we learn that in place of money for the heavenly tribute, the world government is demanding 1,000 slaves from the populace. Leuven knows that slavery in the Holy Land is a fate worse than death, and so even with the looming threat of the world government's armada coming in a short 2 months' time, Leuven stands on business, stating that he has no intention of choosing human sacrifices to hand over to them. Now, this must be the worst 2 months ever for the Kingdom of Esperia, as the people ask Brook, are we done for? Are they really gonna ravage us and rob us for everything that we have? Brook, being the musician that he is, continues to sing music and reassures them, telling tales of kingdoms like Wano and Elbaf that exist entirely outside the influence of the world government. All this to instill even a small amount of hope into the people. We get a shot of Brook's signature guitar, even itself falling beyond his ability to use and laying in a pile of junk. I really think this symbolizes the steady decay of the kingdom. Yet he sings on, and we see the people laughing and smiling to what Brook is doing, so we can be certain he soothed them in some way. Yet despite the small respite, the fateful day inevitably arrived. The world government entered the island from the northern port, and we are treated to scenes of Brook and the country's army fighting them off, backed by one of Brook's songs. As he takes out more and more of the world government's forces, he laments the state of things, noting that the junkyard he and Leuven used to play in has been reduced to a hellish inferno, and that the beautiful garden he and Shuri always walked in has been set ablaze. Even while fighting off the threats, Brook must bear witness to the destruction of his home, the home he loves so much. Upon hearing that the enemy has breached the palace, Brook rushes in to save the king and Princess Shuri. And he is met with a scene that I would not wish upon my worst enemy. He sees it all. We have what appears to be a holy knight smoking a cigar, a shadowy figure that looks a lot like the Itsumade form of Marcus Mars, and a Domi Reversied, Shuri, and Leuven, with the king dead on the floor in front of Shuri, who is holding her sword, its tip covered in his blood. Now, I'm fairly certain what happened here is that, like what Emu tried to do with Luffy and Loki earlier, either Marcus or if this guy is a Holy Knight, the Holy Knight, one of the two of them, provided that is Marcus Mars, but one of them, Domi reversied both Leuven and Shuri and issued them the command that they would fight each other to the death. And Leuven lost that encounter. Personally, I like to imagine that he was able to resist Domi Reversi just enough to not harm his daughter to begin with. It's just unfortunately Shuri wasn't able to resist in the same way. Or if they both did resist, she gave in sooner. Or something along those lines. Shuri sees Brook and with a wicked smile on her face, tells him that the war is over, alongside asking, like, are you not happy, Brook? The war is over. Brook, on the other hand, has the absolute most shocked face that anyone can at the scene he is seeing. And frankly, I really think any of us would be reacting in the same way. When I think of everything else Brook has gone through, I am amazed at just how well he is doing in the current storyline. The only thing here I really want Oda to explain is how do people see a Domi Reversied individual and not think right away that they're being possessed, that it's a devil possession? Like, Brook watched Shuri grow up. He should know that she has never looked like this. And that Leuven, who also has the Domi Reversi horns and wings, has never looked like this either. Like, how did he not figure it out? So for him in the current storyline, some 70 years later, to only now start thinking possession was the cause is pretty wild to me. This also happened with Rox in God Valley, when he was Domi Reversied and he was facing like Whitebeard and Kaido and Big Mom. How did they not see Rox as a demon who never looked like a demon in the way that Domi Reversi makes you look anyway, and not assume, hey, this guy's being possessed? Like, he's never been like this in years. We followed him, whether we really liked it or not. Like, how do people not know? So whatever the cause for this might be, I do hope that Oda gives us a solid explanation, and soon. With all that being said, there is a lot to unpack here in this chapter. But given we are on break next week, we have plenty of time. And so I think that will be it for this review. Again, if you liked what I say, please like and subscribe. If you have anything to add to the conversation, if there's something I missed, if you'd like further discussion, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to continue on there. There go my lights, but we ride. So, with that, I would like each and every one of you to have an excellent rest of your day.